I have from my side. Let's hear from Nelly. Apologies that you have, Nelly.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, Chair. Good morning, members. I've received only one apology from Honorable Sharif. She has party work commitments, Chair. Thank you, Chair.
Nelly.
Hello, Chair. Can you hear me? Hello, Chair.
Kashifa.
Can you hear me?
Morning, Chair. We can hear you.
I can hear you, Chair.
Hey, respond, apologies. Yes. There are any apologies except
Yes, I have, Chair. It's only one.
Why am I calling now? Mic.
Chair. It's open.
No, we are not.
Open, Samuza.
It's open, Chair.
Kulume meeting.
Yes, I'm in a meeting, Chair. It's open. My mic is on, Chair. Good morning, members. Good morning, Chair. I'm not sure. Can members hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I hear you.
Yes. As I indicated earlier on, I've received.
So, honorable members, did you hear me or you were not hearing me when I was talking?
Siyakuzwa Chair konke okukhulumayo. Siyabona.
Only some respond.
Simzwile maka respond athi uSheriff ongekho.
Oh, yimi kuphela bengezi. No, it's fine ke mangabe siyazwana. Okay, Ned.
Thanks, Chair.
It's only Honorable Sheriff.
Yes, Chair. I only received one apology from Honorable Sharif.
Is Honorable Mpiti is back?
Yes, he is in, Chair.
Oh, Mamhlengwa is back.
She's not in yet, Chair. I'll check with her, but I did send the login details.
Oh, okay. Oh, thank you very much, honorable members. Nelly, let's go straight to the agenda.
Chair, now you don't check me if I'm in.
When I am born, born. Yeah, thank you, Honorable Sonyane. Let's go straight to our agenda. Nelly.
Thanks, Chair. The first agenda, Chair, is, I'm just going through to my agenda, is the consideration of the report, Chair, on the determination of salaries of the Commission for Gender Equality. Chair, there's a letter that was referred to all the committees that are dealing with the Chapter 9 institution. Can I flag that letter, Chair, so that we can go through? Chair, with your permission, can I flag the letter?
I said yes.
Oh.
Swiso.
This is the letter, Chair, that was sent to the Honorable Speaker from the President of the country. It's with regards to the determination of the remuneration of the public office bearers of the Independent Constitutional Institution for 2021-2022 financial year, Chair. Can I go through and read it? I have received the annual salary recommendation for all categories of public office bearers, including members of the independent constitutional institution, as outlined in the determination of remuneration of office bearers of independent constitutional institution laws amendment act 2024. Members of the independent constitutional institution as outlined in the determination of the remuneration of office bearers of independent constitutional institution laws amendment act are public protector, deputy public protector, auditor general, members of the South African Human Rights Commission, Commission of the Electoral Commission, Commission of the Commission for the Promotion and Protection of the Rights of Cultural, Religious, and Linguistic Communities, chairpersons and other councillors of Independent Communication Authority of South Africa, and members of the Commission for Gender Equality. The Independent Commission recommended 3% salary increment for all categories of public office bearers, including members of the Independent Constitutional Institution for financial year 2021-2022. I have accepted the Independent Commission's recommendation, and I'm intending to determine 3% salary increment for all members of the Independent Constitutional Institution as per the attached notices. Section 9(1) of the South African Human Rights Commission Act 2013, Section 2, subsection 2, and Section 2A(5) of the Public Protector Act 1994, Section 7, subsection 1 of the Public Audit Act of 2004, Section 14, subsection 1 of the Commission for the Promotion and Protection of the Rights of Cultural, Religious, and Linguistic Community Act 2002, Section 7, subsection 2 of the Electoral Commission Act of 1996, Section 10, subsection 1 of the Independent Communication Authority of South Africa 2000, Section 8, subsection 1 of the Commission for Gender Equality Act 1996 requires the salaries and allowances or benefits of the above mentioned members of the independent constitutional institution to be determined by the President from time to time by notice in the Gazette and approved by National Assembly. The Independent Commission's recommendation include the recommendation of the salaries of commissioners of the Financial and Fiscal Commission. In terms of Section 9(1) of the Financial and Fiscal Commissions Act 1997, that is Act number 99 of 1997, members of the Financial and Fiscal Commission are entitled to an annual salary and such allowance or benefits as determined by the President from time to time by notice in the Gazette and approved by the National Assembly. As requires in terms of the legislation mentioned above, the National Assembly is requested to consider and approve the attached draft notice. Yours sincerely, Mr. Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa, President of the Republic of South Africa. It was sent to Honorable Nosiviwe Mapisa Ngabula, Member of Parliament, Speaker of the National Assembly, to Parliament Chair. And these, where's the touch? This is the attachment government notice that's for the protector, your public protector and deputy public protector. I'll go to the CGE chair, which is for our committee. Yeah. This is for the CGE chair, determination of salaries and allowances of commissioners of the Commission for Gender Equality. In terms of Section 8(1)(a) of the Commission for Gender Equality Act 1996, I hereby determine that the salaries and allowances of the commissioners of the Commission for Gender Equality shall be set out in the schedule with effect from 1st April 2021. Notice number 24 published in the Government Gazette number 44856 of 15 July 2021 is hereby repealed, given under my hand at Cape Town on the 10th of June 2022. Chair. That's for the CGE chair. This is the letter that was sent to the Speaker and referred to the committee, Chair, for consideration and approval. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Nelly. Honorable members, that is the letter that is coming from the Office of the Speaker. But the letter was sent to the Office of the Speaker by the President of the Republic of South Africa. So what needs to be done is for us to adopt and support the recommendation by the President that the President is increasing salaries of commissioners for Commission for Gender Equality with 3%. So let me hear from honorable members. What are you saying? In fact, that is 3%. I see the hand of Honorable Boni and Honorable Masondo.
No, good morning, Chair and honorable members on the platform. Chair, I'm just raising my hands to move for the adoption of the letter as it has been read, and we have seen the letter as well. Based on my further input will be that it's an increase of 3%, and comparing the current status and situation and economic situations in the country, I think 3% is for now, it's okay. And we can't, I would love to move for the adoption of this letter, Chair, with that increase of 3% for the commissioners as stated, and for the fact that we are also only dealing with the CGE ones, but I think it goes for all the commissioners and other institutions, Chapter 9 institutions. So mine is to move for the adoption, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Boni. Honorable Masondo.
I second, Chair. Good morning, honorable members and officials.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Masondo. The request by the President is duly accepted. Then we'll then go to present the report to the House. I don't know when, but at least we're done with this one. Let's go to the next report.
Thank you, Chair. The next report is the report on the petition that was submitted by Honorable Sharif, requesting the National Assembly to establish the National Council on Gender-Based Violence. I will share the report, Chair. Can you give me a minute just to check that report?
Before, maybe let me read something that my executive secretary have sent to me now. Although it's not part, but let me read it. There's a letter from E-Corruption Watch. This letter is talking about insufficient information provided to facilitate meaningful public participation in the appointment of CGE commissioners. We refer to the matter above. On the 2nd September 2022, the Portfolio Committee on Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities released a media statement calling on the public to comment on candidates who have been shortlisted to fill vacancies in the Commission for Gender Equality. The committee released a spreadsheet that merely provides the names and qualifications of candidates and asked the public to comment on these shortlisted individuals via an online form which has 2,000 character limitation. It is our view that The information provided by the committee, as well as the character limitation to comment on candidates, will not allow for meaningful public participation in this pertinent appointment process. We strongly urge the committee to follow the precedent set by other parliamentary committees who publish redacted CVs on Parliament's website and allowed comments to be sent directly to the committee secretary. We also humbly remind the committee to adhere to the recommendations set out by Chief Justice Raymond Zondo in his final report on the Judicial Commission of Inquiry into State Capture, which recommends that Parliament consider whether it is desirable to amend its rules to give effect to the proposals by Corruption Watch on appointments by Parliament. To this end, one of our proposals stated the following: ensure that all parliamentary selection processes are transparent and open. Transparency parliamentary proceedings should involve widely publishing the advertisement for the available positions, publishing both the logistics long list and short list of candidates, as well as any supporting information that are provided by candidates, sharing the budgets and expenditure related to appointments, and ensuring that interviews and deliberation processes are open and accessible to the public. The principle of public participation is a central tenet in parliamentary appointment processes. Section 59 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa requires Parliament to include the public in legislative and other processes. Thus, the public should be reasonably and effectively accommodated during this appointment proceeding. This interaction should be meaningful and not just a symbolic exercise or box ticking. But I don't understand, what exactly do they want, honorable members? Nelly, can you circulate this letter to honorable members?
I'll do, Chair. I received it also.
What is it that we haven't done?
Maybe Herman can assist, Chair, because we've sent out the names and the qualifications. We did not send out all detailed information in terms of the POPI Act, but Herman can assist, Chair. He is there. Thanks, Chair.
Dr. Tembe, do you have this letter?
I don't have the letter, Chair.
Continue, so why am I sent down?
No, I just saw it now, Chair. It just came while I was busy reading that letter, Chair. I'll circulate it.
Send the letter to Honorable to Dr. Tembe and honorable members. I understand which one we didn't do. Kashifa?
Yes, Chairperson.
Can you also comment on the one where they say an online form which has 2,000 character limitation?
Chairperson Herman will talk to the issues of the POPI Act, because we requested advice from legal services about what is required lawfully to put out on Parliament's website for public commentary in relation to the candidates that were shortlisted. In terms of how persons within the civil society and public can provide commentary, it was similar to what we had done before on the applications. It's a Google form. So as opposed to just an email to Neliswa, persons within the public can click on a link and then indicate who they are, their background, and indicate commentary in relation to which particular candidate they're commenting on. And in terms of a character count of 2,000, that will basically be about 2 pages, if I'm not mistaken, 2 pages of written commentary. But chairperson and members can advise if that needs to be extended because the commentary we received in the past was usually no less than a page and a half or a page. If I think back to the former commentary we received around the CGE applicants. So that indicates the issue of the 2,000 characters, chairperson. It's just in terms of how much, when people give comment and they type out their words, how long that would be. Thank you.
Okay. In terms of, so you, what is there? It's the CVs or it's the qualifications only?
Chairperson, the advice we received from Dr. Tembe and OISD in terms of when we abide by the POPI Act, in terms of what's allowed to be put out for public commentary. The advice received that was given to Neliswa is to put the name, surname, and qualifications. We checked in terms of the Excel spreadsheet, that's all the information in relation to the person, which is another form of their CV. The feedback and the advice we received was name, surname, and qualifications. Because we asked, in order for us to abide, the committee to abide by the POPI Act, what are we allowed to put out for public commentary? And Herman will explain, because he also sought advice from his senior, Kaya, why those three was put out, name, surname, and qualifications. But I'll hand over to Herman now. Thank you, Chairperson.
Okay. Dr. Tembe?
You'll bear with me about my voice, I think.
Yeah, sorry, I know we have flu.
Yeah. So on the issue about the what has to be on the parliamentary website, we decided after having consulted my senior that the best that can be displayed there is the name, surname, and qualification, because previously even some candidates will contest or contend to have some qualifications which they did not have. For instance, you bear with me, I don't intend to desecrate the dead, but the former late SABC board chair, Ellen Chabalala, that was the story. So currently, I found the meeting immediately, so I don't know what is the story here, because I've checked on the POPI Act, because the POPI Act, in its preamble, it says it has the intention of this act is the right to privacy, include the right to protect against the unlawful collection, retention, dissemination, and use of personal information. Then Section 2A says the purpose of this act is to A, give effect to the constitutional right to privacy by safeguarding personal information when processed by a responsible party, subject to justifiable limitations that are aimed at 1, balancing the right to privacy against the right, particularly the right of access to information, and 2, protecting important interests, including the free flow of information within the Republic and across international borders. Then B, regulate the manner in which personal information may be processed by establishing conditions in harmony with international standard to prescribe the minimum threshold requirement for the lawful processing of personal information. C, provide persons with rights and remedies to protect their personal information from processing that is in accordance with this act. So then lastly, which is important, the interpretation clause. It says this act must be interpreted in a manner that doesn't prevent any public or private body from exercising or performing its powers, duties, and functions in terms of the law as far as such powers, duties, and functions relate to the processing of personal information, and such processing is in accordance with this act or any other legislation as referred to in subsection 2 that regulates the processing of personal information. So without coming to a conclusion, Chair, so far the letter for me is abstract. Maybe if I engage you on it, then is when I can come to a different conclusion. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tembe, for that. Can you also assist us in responding to this letter? Because that is my understanding also regarding EPOP Act, that we need to protect the private information of candidates. And we can't expose ourselves as a committee publishing private information of individuals. What we have published according to EPOP Act and according to our rules in Parliament, I think it's enough. We are transparent. All our meetings are open to the public. And even when we're busy with the other processes, we have never had even a closed meeting. So all our meetings were public. So I'm not sure what do they mean. So can you also assist us, Dr. Tembe, on responding to them, quoting the act and a policy, the legislation, and so and yeah, I think the 2000 character limitation, it's more than enough. If there's any other thing that they want to submit, they can send through to Uneliswa. If they've got extra information that they want to send, there's nothing that is stopping them from sending it to our committee secretary. But having 2000 character limitation, it's a 2-pager. So 2 pages is, I think it's more than enough. If there's anyone who wants to add, have more information, there's nothing stopping that person to send it directly to the chair or to the committee secretary.
Maybe,
thank you very much.
Maybe to add, Chair, I think section 11 of the POPI Act gives more powers to the committee, because it says, section 11(1) says, personal information may only be processed if the processing is necessary to carry out action for the performance or conclusion of a contract to which the subject data is a party. C, processing complies with an obligation imposed by law on the responsible party. D, processing protects the legitimate interest of the data subject. E, processing is necessary for the proper performance of a public law duty by a public body, which is what this committee is doing. It's proper processing of a necessary information for the performance of a public law duty by a public body. Then F says processing is necessary for pursuing the legitimate interest of the responsible party or of a third party whom the information is supplied. Then 13, which I think is also relevant, it says 13.1 says personal information must be collected for a specific, explicit, defined, and lawful purpose related to a function or activity of the responsible party. This information was collected by committee in order to see or determine qualifying candidates. And, and the public has to actually comment on whether these candidates do qualify based on their qualification, what is displayed on the public website, on the parliamentary website. I can end there, Chair. Thanks.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Tembe. Honorable members, do you want to say something? Okay, so you're agreeing with us. So, okay, thank you very much, Dr. Tembe. We'll have to respond to them because I see it's dated 2 September 2022. Okay, we're done with this one. Let's go to the next item, Nelly.
Thank you, Chair. As I said before, it's a report, petitions report that was sponsored by Honorable Sharif. I'll share the report, Chair. Thank you. Thank you, Chair. This is the report. I'm not sure if members can see it. I'll go through it.
Increase the font. Increase the font.
It's 12, Chair. I'll increase it to times 14. Can you see it, Chair? Is it much better now?
I can see it, Nelly.
Thanks, Chair. I'll go through it. This is a draft report of the Portfolio Committee on Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities on the petition calling for the Assembly to establish the National Council on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide, dated 6 September. The Portfolio Committee on Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities met on 15th March 2022, having considered the petition calling for the establishment of the National Council on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide submitted by Ms. N. Sharif, referred to the committee on 7th September 2021, report as follows. On 7th September 2021, Ms. N. Sharif submitted the petition on behalf of the Uyinene Mkhotyana Foundation, calling for the Assembly to establish the National Council on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide. The Speaker of the National Assembly referred the petition to the Portfolio Committee on Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities for consideration and report. The committee was briefed by Ms. N. Sharif and Uyinene Mkhotyana Foundation on the petition on 15th of March 2022. The committee was also briefed by the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities in response to the petition. Presentation by Ms. Sharif and Uyinene Mkhotyana Foundation. Ms. Sharif thanked the committee for affording her an opportunity to introduce the petition on behalf of Uyinene Mkhotyana Foundation. Furthermore, Ms. Sharif provided a motivation as to why she introduced the petition in light of a background of the scourge of gender-based violence and femicide in the country. Ms. Sharif concluded by outlining the following recommendations to the committee. A, that the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disability fast-track the establishment of the National Council on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide. B, the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities to report to this committee on the progress of the establishment of the National Council on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide, and must include feedback from LEDLEC, feedback from their public participation, and a timeline on when it will be tabled in Parliament. That the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities report to this committee on the role of the Gender-Based Violence and Femicide Secretariat in the establishment of the National Council on Gender-Based Violence. That the Portfolio Committee visit the Uyinene Foundation in the Eastern Cape. That the Portfolio Committee visit the Post Office to Parliament task team in Cape Town as they conduct research on the postcard collected. Having concluded her presentation, Ms. Sharif then handed over to Uyinene Foundation to present the petition. The foundation indicated in its petition that the National Council on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide has not yet been established to implement the National Strategic Plan on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide. To this end, the foundation made the following request: that the Portfolio Committee on Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities take the appropriate measure to oversee the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities establishment of the National Council on Gender-Based Violence. That the Portfolio Committee on Women, on Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities act swiftly and use all measures available within their powers to hold the executive account. That the committee ensure that the National Council on Gender-Based Violence is constructed in line with the National Strategic Plan on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide. Specifically, the request that the model structure reflects that envisaged in the National Strategic Plan on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide, and that the membership of the Secretariat is 51% CSOs. The necessary funds for the establishment and operation of the National Council on Gender-Based Violence must be made available to ensure the Council is able to implement the National Strategic Plan. Furthermore, we ask that the progress of the Council and the implementation of the NSP on Council are made publicly available through the publication of reports. The Portfolio Committee on Justice and Correctional Services to oversee the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development of enabling legislation for the National Council on Gender-Based Violence. This Portfolio Committee place pressure on the courts to hear the trials of Jesse Hess, Tasni Van Wyk, and Megan Kramer. The Portfolio Committee on Police immediately capacitate DNA and forensic services, particularly in sourcing the chemical solution for analyzing DNA. We request the Portfolio Committee on Public Service and Development to conduct a feasibility study on converting the Clearing Post Office into a wellness center, similar to a Tutuzela Care Center, given that it is also next to Clearing Post Office. We request that the Portfolio Committee on Social Development exercise the necessary legislative oversight over their respective executive departments while aiding the implementation of the National Strategic Plan on Gender-Based Violence and the establishment of the National Council on Gender-Based Violence. That the National Assembly hold the President and the rest of the executive accountable for the delays delayed action in establishing the Council and the implementing the GBVF. Urge all sectors involved in this process to act decisively in ensuring that the fight against GBV remains a priority for the state. Furthermore, request that a government body be designated to hold, process, and store the letters. Process and store the letters we have delivered until they can be archived. That the Portfolio Committee on Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities and the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities conduct a feasibility report on the conversion of the Clearing Post Office into a wellness Wellness Center for Survivors of GBV. The response by the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities. The Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities responded to the petition by indicating that their presentation purpose was to clarify the establishment of the Board of Trustees and provide an update on the development of the council. Furthermore, the department indicated that the Minister of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities intends to introduce the bill to introduce the bill to Parliament in the current financial year. The presentation of the department also focused on the following. Bullet point number 1, principal element of the National Council on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide Bill, background on the model structure of the National Council on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide and the National Strategic Plan on Gender-Based Violence, provided progress update and status update on the proposed bill. Given the background provided by the department, the Board of Trustees route was completely abandoned by the department as it started the process to establish the National Council on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide. With respect to the bill, the department noted that it provides for the establishment of the National Council on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide, that is the council, which as a statutory body responsible for providing strategic leadership on elimination of gender-based violence and femicide in South Africa. In addition, the bill seeks to inter alia legislate for a multi-sectoral and intersectoral approach to ensure effective implementation of the National Strategic Plan on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide, and to provide for reporting mechanism to facilitate the effective performance monitoring, evaluation, and corrective action in the prevention of and response to gender-based violence and femicide in South Africa. Cabinet approved the bill on the 30th of September 2021 and it was gazetted on 5th October 2021. The bill was also submitted to NEDLET and was scheduled for the discussion on the SPCHD Cabinet Committee meeting on 15 March 2022. The purpose of the submission to the Cabinet was a request for the Cabinet's approval to introduce the bill to Parliament. Committee observations. The committee, having deliberated on the presentation by Ms. Sharif, Uyinene Mrwetyana Foundation, and the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities, made the following observations. 4.1, the first observation to Uyinene Mrwetyana Foundation petition. The committee welcomed the initiative by Ms. Sharif on the petition by the foundation. The committee also supports the recommendation made by Ms. Sharif. The committee acknowledged the concern raised in the petition and the proposed recommendation by the foundation. To the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disability, the committee questioned when the consultation process on the bill took place and whether Uyinene Mrwetyana Foundation was invited to attend. Committee inquired whether the department considered the views of the National Treasury in establishing the council. The committee inquired whether the 51% of the representation of the NGOs versus that of government, which is 41% in the council, was resolved and how this transpired. The committee queried how the secretariat of the council was coordinating work done by government departments in terms of the GBV. The committee sought more information about the bill and what is envisaged in terms of the structure of the National Council on Gender-Based Violence. The committee was concerned about the slow pace of progress in establishing the National Council on Gender-Based Violence, as well as the implementation of the NSP on GBV. To this end, the committee inquired whether the department had an intervention in place to fast-track the implementation of NSP on GBV. Sorry, Chair, I'll increase the font. Apologies. The committee questioned whether the department had adequate capacity to establish the National Council on Gender-Based Violence. The committee also inquired whether there was budget allocated to establish the council, and if yes, how much was used and on what was given that the council has not yet established, or what given that the council has not yet established. The committee asked which civil society organizations were consulted during the consultation on the National Council on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide Bill. The committee asked whether the department would receive NEDLAC's input on the bill and whether timeframe was allocated by which to submit their inputs. Committee recommendations. On Ms. Sharif recommendations, the committee notes and supports the recommendation made to the committee. Unene Khoekana Foundation. The foundation and the other stakeholders should assist in awareness raising campaign on issues of GBV. The foundation should also extend its program to rural areas, especially in the Eastern Cape and Limpopo province. The committee would continue to conduct astute oversight of the Department of Women, Youth, and Persons with Disabilities insofar as the implementation of the NSP on GBV is concerned, as well as the development of the proposed bill on the National Council on Gender-Based Violence and subsequent establishment of the council. The committee would bring to the attention the issues raised by the foundation to the Portfolio Committee on Police and to the Portfolio Committee on Justice and Correctional Services. To the Department of Women, Youth, and Persons with Disabilities, the department should make sure that its database is inclusive of all stakeholders to ensure that public consultation on issues such as the implementation of the NSP on GBV is broadly consulted on. The progress report on the establishment of the National Council on Gender-Based Violence should be made public to ensure that community is aware of the latest development. The department should engage with the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure and the South African Post Office to explore the feasibility of converting the Kralins Post Office into a wellness center for survivors of GBV, as per the foundation's recommendation. The department should engage with the foundation regarding the recommendation which relates to postcard, how this should be processed and where this should be archived. Department of Justice and Correctional Services. The Department of Justice and Correctional Services should ensure fast track the process of finalizing the trials of Jesse Hess, Tasni van Wyk, and Megan Kremer. Department of Public Works and Infrastructure and Communication and Digital Technologies and South African Post Office. The Department of Public Works and Infrastructure should conduct a feasibility study to assess the conversion of the Clarence Post Office into a wellness center for survival of gender-based violence. Report to be considered. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Neliswa. Honorable members, that is the report. If you remember, this report emanates from the petition that was presented to the Portfolio Committee last year. Go up, Nelly.
Okay, Chair. It was on the 15th.
Yeah, it was on the 15th of March, 2022. This petition was submitted by Honorable Sheriff to the Portfolio Committee. So we have written a report which we are presenting now to the Portfolio Committee for adoption, so that we can be able to publish, so that the report can be edited. Can I get hands, honorable members? I take it that you have read this report. Honorable Mpiti. Honorable Masondo. Honorable Mpiti.
Thank you very much, Chair, and a very good morning to all honorable members as well as officials that are on the line. Chair, I just want to firstly commend the manner in which the report has been prepared. I think it really reflects the comments that we had on the 22nd of March 2022 when this report was presented to us. And I think it's a really big step that we are making in adopting this report, because we are fully aware of the crisis we have in the country in terms of gender-based violence. And I think it is incumbent for us to become, a parliament as well as a portfolio committee that really takes petitions seriously, because there is a view from the public that petitions are not really taken seriously by Parliament. And I think the manner in which the Portfolio Committee has engaged with the report and has engaged with the Uyinene Foundation really speaks to how serious we take these particular issues when they come. So I would like to propose that we do adopt this report, and I support this report in its adoption. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mpiti. I'm happy that honorable members can see that we have tried our level best to capture everything that was discussed that day, and even recommendations that we have made as the portfolio committee. And I can see that you have gone through the report, Honorable Mpiti. Honorable Masondo.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Good morning, members. Good morning, officials. I don't differ with the report because it's our report, but I just want to ask if maybe it's possible that we can make these recommendations from Honorable Sharif, that is from the committee, because it was the work that is done by the committee. Because if it's a committee's report, I think the recommendations must come from us again, not maybe from one individual, because we are working as a team. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, I hear you. Mam Hlengwa?
Hello, morning.
Mam Hlengwa?
Thank you, Chairperson. Technology was above me. Greetings to the Chairperson and the committee and the department. First of all, let me anchor our Chairperson and the Secretary for this comprehensive report. And the Chairperson, I support the idea of Masondo to take this report as a report of the portfolio committee, so that it will be heavier even like this. Thank you.
Honorable Mpiti, is your hand up or Honorable members, the report, the recommendations are the committee's recommendations. And the report, this is the report of the portfolio committee, not the report of Honorable Sharif. The Uyinene Foundation presented a report to the portfolio committee, which we had a lengthy discussion with them, and then we have made recommendations, things that we have accepted when they were there to make presentations and proposals to us. Tina, those are the things that we make as part of our recommendations. That is my understanding. Kashifa, what is your take regarding that? Because that's my understanding. That's how we captured the report. That's why even here we wrote Ms. Sharif's number 5, committee recommendations. 5.1, Ms. Sharif recommendations. The committee notes and supports the recommendations made to the committee.
Chairperson is absolutely correct. This is the report of the committee. So
Yes.
even though Ms. Sharif wrote the petition, but it's the committee that looks and decides how to take it forward. And therefore your recommendations are very clear. So once this ATC, and if you need to go into the House and talk to it, you will talk to the position of the committee.
Yes.
So Chairperson is correct.
That's how we have written this report, honorable members. Because it was not going to be like Honorable Sharif when she submitted the petition in the committee. She did not say anything. She did say anything, which we have noted. And as the committee, we had a lengthy discussion, and we had a lengthy discussion about it, and then we discussed as the committee, and these are the committee recommendations that we are presenting to the House. That is my understanding on how we have written the report. I think it's in order, honorable members. Can I get a mover for the adoption of this report?
Chair, I would like Honorable Mpiti here. I would like to move for the adoption of the report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I get a seconder?
Good morning, Chairperson. Honorable Ngobo here. I would like to second the adoption of the report. Then.
Thank you very much. The report has been duly adopted. Can we go to the next report?
Thank you, Chair. The next one is an ERAP report. It's a report that was presented by the Commission for Gender Equality to the committee. I'll share the report, Chair. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Why don't you go to straight to
observations?
To observations, findings of the study, and then because it's a long report.
Yes, I'll do that, Chair.
What do you suggest, honorable members?
Support that, Chair. Go straight to the observations.
Yeah.
I also support, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much, Ma. Yeah. Okay, Nelly.
Okay. Chair. Findings of the study.
Observations there.
Yeah. Okay. These are the findings of the study, Chair, as presented by CGE. The findings of the study were reported on in terms of the general observation, that is overview of implementation of ERAP, and then by thematic area 1 up to 5, each of which is outlined thereafter. 4.1, ERAP overview of implementation. ERAP was a timely, necessary, and crucial national response to an urgent national crisis.
I don't think you'll have to read that.
Okay.
Just summarize it. ERAP 4 findings of the study. 1, the findings of the study were reported, or in terms, you must correct this, ne? Because there's in terms of general observations, that is overview of implementation of ERAP, and then by the thematic area 1 to 5, each of which is outlined hereafter. And then 4.1, it's ERAP, it's overview of implementation. 4.2, findings on ERAP thematic overview. Thematic area 1, access to justice for victims and survivors. And then thematic 4.2.2, thematic area 2, it's change on norms and behavior through high-level prevention efforts. 4.23, thematic area 3 is agently respond to victims of GBV. 4.2.4, thematic area 4, it's strengthen accountability architecture to adequately respond to the scourge of GBV. Thematic 4.2.5, thematic area 5, it's prioritize intervention that facilitate economic opportunities to address women economic empowerment. And then recommendations, and then 4.2.6, it's summary of achievements of targets, which table is read. And then number 5, it's recommendations by CGE. The CGE recommended the following from A to H. And then number 6, committee observations. Then you read committee observations.
Okay, Chair, thanks.
Read committee observations, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Committee observation, which is point number 6. The committee, having deliberated on CGE's report, made the following observations. A, the committee was concerned that not enough time was allocated to implement the ERAP plan, and as such, this impacted the outcome. Number 2, the committee queried what progress has been made since the CGE last presented to the committee on the report, given that the country's focus was now on the implementation of the National Strategic Plan on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide, as well as the establishment of the council. The committee queried about the challenges the CGE experienced in the development of the report and with the implementation of the recommendation. Given time constraints and various levels of assistance received from the department by the CGE, the committee asked what assistance the CGE required from the committee to ensure the recommendations are implemented. In terms of the recommendations, sorry, Chair. A, the CGE should ensure that they monitor all government departments that are responsible for implementing the National Strategic Plan on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide. The committee should engage with the Secretariat on National Council on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide on their role and program to implement the National Strategic Plan on GBV. In conclusion, the committee welcomed the report by CGE and acknowledged the importance of monitoring and evaluation policies to address gender-based violence and femicide in the country. Furthermore, the committee committed to a joint meeting with the relevant portfolio committees in order to engage with the relevant department and assess what progress has been made insofar as the implementation of the NSP on GBV is concerned, in addition to the recommendation outlined by the CGE. Report to be considered. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Neliswa. Can I get hands from honorable members? This is how we have captured this report. Can I get hands from honorable members to move for adoption of it? Honorable Piri. Honorable Piri. Honorable Pony. Honorable Pony and Honorable Mamhlengwa.
Thanks, Chairperson. I would love to move for the adoption of the report as presented, but also to maybe remind ourselves also that we as we look into the part of the conclusion, Chairperson, that talks to that, we committed as a committee to hold meetings with relevant or other portfolio committees so that we engage with them on this matter also, Chairperson, in terms of the implementation. So I would like to move for the report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Boni. I'm sure our staff members have looked at the conclusion, and I see Kashifa have also proposed to myself that maybe we need to call the Secretariat of GBV to come to the Portfolio Committee in November so that they can come and report on the work that they've done so far. Remember, they are also monitoring all relevant departments that are responsible for a GBV. So I'm sure that's what we are going to propose. We are proposing to the committee also. In ensuring that we have those joint portfolio committee meetings, and so that the departments can tell us on what is it that they've done so far. Ma'am Hlengwa?
Thank you, Chairperson. I'm adopting.
Yes, Honorable Boni.
I'm seconding Honorable Boni with the amendment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. The report has been adopted. Let's move to the next report.
Next report, Chair, is that of an oversight visit conducted by the committee to Northwest and Gauteng, Chair. I will share it, Chair.
Ema report be ERAP wafaka uthula or kwenze njani?
Check.
Ngibona njalo.
No, it's only one report.
For oversight visit there.
Yeah, it's two oversight visits. This one, Chair, it's the one from
July. Eastern Cape. Or
yeah,
not the Eastern Cape one.
This one that I've lighted, Chair, it's Northwest and Gauteng, and then after this one, we'll go through the Eastern Cape, which is our last report to adoption. Okay.
Or Northwest and Gauteng, 18 to 23 April 2022. Okay. Go to findings. Just read in the location, the Portfolio Committee on Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities here in after referred to as having undertaken an oversight visit to Northwest and Gauteng province from the 18th to 23rd April 2022. A report is as follows. Introduction, which is number 1, background, which is 1.1, and then 1.2, objectives of the oversight visit. You can read the overall aim of this oversight visit. Nelly, you can read the objectives of the oversight visit.
Okay. Point 1.2, the overall aim of this oversight visit was twofold. Firstly, to create a platform for the committee to assess the progress and outcomes of specific programs by the department, the NYDA and the CGE in addressing the GBVF, gender equality and youth unemployment. Secondly, it sought to assess the progress made on the implementation of recommendation contained in the research reports of the CGE related to GBV and the South African Human Rights Commission on children with disabilities in particular. Particular objectives were as follows: with respect to the Commission for Gender Equality, was to assess the CGE management and infrastructure of the provincial offices, to assess how matters related to complaints from civil society are dealt with at the
I
provincial
think
offices.
these particular objectives were as follows. It must go down.
Oh. Is that fine, Chair?
Yeah.
To assess the CGE's management and infrastructure of the provincial office, to assess how matters related to complaints from civil society are dealt with at the provincial offices, to assess specifically the implementation of the recommendation outlined in the CGE's shelter report and engage with relevant stakeholders, to undertake for a follow-up visit with CGE Provincial Commissioner at police stations, to Tuzela Care Center, a specialized court, to assess progress made on the recommendation proposed by the CGE, and to follow up on outstanding matters identified by the committee that related mainly to governance, human resource, finance, and administration. With respect to a National Youth Development Agency, to assess the NYDA's management and infrastructure of the provincial office, to assess how services are rendered to youth at the provincial offices, to assess business funded by young entrepreneurs and engage with youth, and to interact with young people receiving training and young people placed in jobs. With respect to the department, to assess the department's management and infrastructure of the head office, to assess the factors facilitating or constraining the success of the sanitary dignity program in a province by engaging with key stakeholders, to inquire about the rollout of the SDP within the province and assess the SDP value chain and how it has manifested within a province, that is by engaging with service provider responsible for manufacture, production, storage, and distribution of sanitary products. With respect to the South African Human Rights Commission, to assess what progress has been made in giving effect to the recommendation contained in the report of the Northwest Provincial Investigative Hearings into lack of safety and security measures in schools for children with disabilities in South Africa, by visiting the Northwest School for the Deaf, and to engage with key stakeholders and identify what the subsequent improvement and challenges have been since the investigation by the South African Human Rights Commission. Thank you, Chair. Hello, Chair. Yeah. What happened to me? Can you hear me, Chair and members?
We
Yes,
hear you.
Comrade Lily. Yes.
Oh, thank you. Chair, can I go to observations?
Hello, honorable members. Mahlengwa. Hello.
Hello, how?
Oh,
Ngivalekile belingezwa.
yes,
Sorry,
I
ngakubona ukuthi
want
ivalekile.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
sorry. Ngibiza ngibuza uNeliso ukuthi ugcine kuphi and ngize ngiyafunda ngiyaqhubeka. Okay, I was saying Uneli ugcine kulokho, the committee delegation attendance by the executive stakeholders and support staff, we table as read. And then we go to number 2, it's summary of proceedings and of engagements with the portfolio committee. 2.1 is visit to the Northwest School for the Deaf, Gauteng start. 2.1.1, it's highlights by the South African Human Rights Commission. 2.1.2, it's presentation by the Provincial Department of Education. 2.1.3 is key challenges identified by the Northwest Department of Basic Education, which we need to read these ones. Can you read the key challenges?
Up. Go up. Sorry, Chair, I'm just going to the key challenges. I was at the bottom of the report.
It's 2.1.3. Key challenges were retaining teachers and attracting staff, as the school was a challenge given it's located in a rural or farm area. Bullet number 2, in addition, the Provincial Department of Education also faced serious challenges with regards to compensating ghost teachers and are currently investigating the matter. Hence, the departments lacked the requisite educators in terms of vacant posts, but the compensation of employee budget was fully utilized. 2.1.4, progress and interventions. Bullet number 1, the DDG indicated that the department has put in place a strategy to attract requisite staff with relevant skills, with emphasis placed on attracting local people to assist in the school. Bullet number 2, the DDG also indicated that the school spent 50 million to procure assistive devices for learners for the financial year 2021-2022. 2.1.5, it's a presentation by Northwest School for the Deaf and the district team. The presentation of the school was presented by the school principal. The presentation of the school was presented by the school principal and included the following: status of the school, current status, progress interventions that were made. And then Roman figure 2 is school governing body, SGB functionality. Roman figure 3, it's stakeholder involvement. And then Roman figure 4, it's benchmarking. With respect to benchmarking, the official from the district management team indicated that the district-based support team visited schools for the deaf in the Gauteng Department of Education, namely St. Vincent School for the Deaf and Sizwile School for the Deaf. The purpose of the visit was to benchmark on safety of learners, curriculum support, resources used to enhance teaching and learning for the deaf learners, and human resource so as to implement the recommendation of the South African Human Rights Commission. Roman figure 5, it's alternative methods of assessment. In terms of alternative methods of assessment for deaf learners, standard concessions for all deaf learners applied, and that was in the form of adopted question papers. Okay, standard concession for all deaf learners applied, and that was in the form of adopted question papers. Furthermore, additional application for the following could also be sought, such such as extra time, adapted font, requests for a scribe and rest breaks. Concession applications are based on comorbidities. Recommendations of the Human Rights Commission for PET is 1. You can read that recommendation. Neil.
Chair. Chair.
When uhambi nami la. I-report yakho wena uhamba kuphi?
I'm kind of lost, Chair.
Recommendations of the South African Human Rights Commission for PET. I table as read.
Okay. You want me to go through that?
Challenges and intervention. Read challenges and interventions.
Okay. Challenges. The retention of qualified educators proficient in South African Sign Language. Only 3 qualified South African Sign Language educators out of 12 remaining. Interventions. It's rural allowance. It's not allocated, Chair. The second one, it's SASSA grant versus teaching and learning.
So retention of qualified educators proficiency in SASL, only 3 qualified South African Sign Language educators out of 12 remaining. Ne? Yes. We law rural allowance not allocated. So we need to fix that one. Report I'm sure iPad iPhone right. Yeah, report it's written correctly.
Yes.
Yeah. SASSA grant versus teaching and learning. Learners' families are dependent on the care dependency disability grant, and learners from all grades arrive 2 weeks after reopening of schools to sort out grant payments. Hospitality studies, equipment lacking, training with other local secondary schools which offer the same subjects for practicals. Learners with additional disabilities, which includes SID, profiling of learners, parental involvement, applying for curriculum extension. No matrons and house fathers, support advertisements and appointments. No matrons and house fathers. Ne? There's a need for support, advertisements and appointments of staff at hotel and at hostels. A late appointment of personnel after the recruitment process. late appointment of personnel after the recruitment process, some submissions done 2 years back, and timeless appointment by provincial human resource division. A feeder school offering caps and decaps, it applies for apply for curriculum extension to cater for SID and MMID learners. And then we go straight to a visit to Commission for Gender Equality Provincial Offices in Mahikeng, Northwest Province. We jumped the input by the chair. Commissioners deployed are there. Overview by the Northwest Provincial Manager, CGE staff component. Overview by Northwest CGE, stakeholder engagements and collaboration. The Commission also indicated that they have also established partnership and collaboration with the following organization. They have signed, these are the organizations that they have presented. Table as read. Public Education and Information Department, table as read. PEI training workshops on gender and development. The Commission conducted the following training. Training the civil society organization on gender and development at Mafikeng, Ngakamudiri, Molema District Municipality, training the civil society organization on gender and development at Freiberg, Dr. Ruth District Municipality, training the civil society organization on gender and development at Rustenburg, Bujanala District, training the civil society organization on gender and development at Makwasi, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda District. The purpose of the training was to provide participants with information and skills to plan and develop gender responsive programs and to mainstream gender in their programs. Furthermore, the Commission further conducted training on gender mainstreaming in the following municipalities: Ngakamudiri, Molema, Ratlow Local, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda Clerksdorp Local, Dr. Ruth Mukhumutsi Mumpati Taung Local, Bujanala Ramusiri Emuilwa, and Khetling. The following were the key issues emanating from the workshop conducted on gender mainstreaming: no proper budgeting for gender-related programs, no gender policy, there is no budget for gender activities, lack of political will, and frequent change of officials. Media and communication, table as read. Complaints handling, table as read. Media and other reports on the Northwest Province, table as read. Challenges identified by Northwest CGE office. The Northwest Province is too vast, and due to budgetary constraints, the office is unable to reach over everywhere, but rely on partnerships, networks, and use of different media in leadership. Media platforms, sorry. Gender mainstreaming is still a challenge in municipalities as they experience change in leadership. Communities have limited knowledge on their rights and functioning of different institutions. Visit to the Grace Help Care Center in Rustenburg, table as read. Visit to the National Youth Development Agency offices, Rustenburg North, Northwest Province, the committee visited the provincial office of the National Youth Development Agency, which is located in Rustenburg, and engaged with the support staff in the offices. The NYDA Northwest has centers in 4 district municipalities, Bojanala, Platinum, Platinum. You need to correct spellings of Platinum. Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, Ngaka Mudiri Mulema, Dr. Ruth Skhumutsi Mumpati. The center in Rustenburg services 5 local municipalities, which are tabled as red. The center offers the following products and services: grant programs, business consultancy services, voucher program, mentorship, business management training, sales pitch and triple PE-ish workshops, cooperative governance training, market linkage, jobs program, job preparedness workshop, life skills program. And then a visit to Tsinolo Mukhara Guest House, Rustenburg, beneficiary of the NYDA. This is table as read. Visit to Motova FPTY Ltd Rustenburg, beneficiary of the NYDA. Now, this one is table as read. Visit to NYDA offices in Ekurhuleni, Gauteng. We take it table as read. And then these are the things that were the findings during our visit. Visit to Bongi Hands of Gold, beneficiary of the NYDA Gauteng province, table as read. Visit to a woman with disability in Polar Park, Ekurhuleni. Fortunately, that woman has already received the customized wheelchair due to the visit of the portfolio committee. We can pad ourselves, honorable members. Visit to Ikaya Letemba Shelter, Gauteng province, one-stop center for victims of gender-based violence, Gauteng province. This is how we have seen that in future, how should gender-based violence stop centers should look like. So Ikaya Temba is one of the best, which we are recommending as the committee that we wish all provinces should have a center like that, so that at least we know that our citizens, they know when they have challenges where to go, because in that center there are all disciplines inside. The other information, Roman 1, these are the things that are in Ikaya Letemba. 2.9, visit to CGE head office and meeting with commissioners. Table as read. 2.10, visit to Temba police station, Samanskral, Gauteng province. Table as read. 2.10.1, presentation by the Commission for Gender Equality. Table as read. 10.2, presentation by Temba police station management. Table as read. 2.11, visit to the office of the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disability. Table as read. And then observations. This section reflects the observations of the committee during the oversight visit. 3.1, Northwest School for the Deaf and the Northwest Provincial Department of Basic Education. So these are the observations. Table as read, because there are too many. Table as read, all the observations. Yeah, and then Number observations when National Youth Development Agency, table as read. Ekurhuleni observations, table as read. Ikayala Temba Shelter, Gauteng Province, observations, table as read. Temba Police Station, DPV Training, Department of Women, recommendations. Can you read the recommendations? That's Northwest. Number 4, Northwest Secondary School for the Deaf and the Department of Education. Can you read all those recommendations?
Okay, Chair. Kashifa will take over, Chair.
Kashifa, can you go through the recommendations? Number
Sure,
4.
Chairperson, no problem. What we've done is we've clustered the recommendations in terms of the 2 provinces and who the key people the committee engaged with. So in terms of the school and the Department of Education, the department should implement a plan to either renovate or build other schools for learners with disabilities in special needs schools and ensure that adequate budget is allocated in that regard. Can you move down, Eliswa? We can move all the way down. Number 2, Northwest Department of Education. The top of page 44, Neliswa. Thank you.
Yeah.
The Northwest Department of Education should implement consequence management against staff who sign off the incorrect advertisement for the positions at Northwest School for the Deaf. It should prioritize the filling of vacancies at schools for learners with special needs. To this end, the committee reiterated that vacant post at the Northwest School for the Deaf, in particular the boarding house, be filled as a matter of urgency, in addition to recruiting educators competent in sign language, as well as healthcare professionals such as audiologists, speech therapists, and occupational therapists, a psychologist, and a school nurse. 4, the Department of Education for Northwest should address training needs of educators at the Northwest School for the Deaf insofar as sign language is concerned. 5, first aid training at the School for the Deaf should be extended to include learners. The School for the Deaf, together with the Department of Basic Education, Northwest, should collaborate with TVET colleges and the NYDA on exit strategies for learners leaving school or had passed grade 12. The Northwest Department of Education should investigate the matter of matric learners at Northwest School for the Deaf in reviewing the manner in which the final grade 12 papers were marked. The committee recommended that the National Department of Basic Education ensures the reasonable accommodation is applied to learners with disabilities when undertaking, so you just need to move up again. When undertaking the examinations and measures should be implemented to enable these learners to gain access to do this. So, for example, extra time allocated 50 minutes for every hour of a written paper, use of sign language as a medium to conduct examinations. 9, the Northwest Department of Education should address all issues of concern at the Northwest Secondary School for the Deaf by convening a meeting of all key stakeholders to resolve matters and then forward a plan on how to deal with these issues. This should be inclusive of the long-standing matters of the fire that resulted in deaths of learners, loss of belongings of the learners and staff affected. The committee expects a report to be submitted to the committee within 30 days after the meeting. This report should be sent to the committee by 21 May 2022. Number 10, the Northwest Department of Education was requested.
And they did send the reports. It's big files, honorable members. For now, we're not sure how to distribute the reports because it's high volumes of work. that they have submitted, which I'm not sure how are we going to deal with it. But we'll find a way on how then do we send to honorable members, because the way they are so big, the size, but we'll find a way. Okay, sorry, Kashifa.
No problem, Chairperson. Chairperson, maybe on that, with Chairperson's permission in the committee, once we've adopted this report, we could submit the report to the relevant stakeholders that we engage with, and then ask them to give us a progress report and respond to the recommendations. And that's just one way in which we can have one report for members on the way forward. But Chairperson can give us input about that and members at the end. So 4.2 for the Human Rights Commission. The Human Rights Commission should use its powers to subpoena the Northwest Department of Education to enforce the implementation of the recommendations that's outlined in the report on children's disabilities in special schools. It should consider extending its assessment of schools for children's disabilities nationally. Then for 4.3 for the CGE in terms of the Northwest Province, 1, the CGE should include municipal councils when conducting gender mainstreaming workshops. The provincial office should submit a report on all police stations in the province and that do not allow CGE to conduct its work. The CGE should conduct more outreach programs and do more awareness campaigns in communities on the role of the CGE. The committee should also hold a joint meeting with the Portfolio Committee and Police and the Department of Police to discuss the issue of members of Parliament, members of provincial legislature, and CGE commissioners and support staff not being allowed in police stations to do their work. The committee should issue a statement in Parliament on the behaviour of police officials at police stations that hinder the work of Chapter 9 institutions and members of Parliament. And number 5, the CGE should ensure uniformity in terms of employing staff in all provincial offices. For the Grace Help Centre in the Northwest, the CGE should assist the centre and deal with challenges identified to ensure the effective running of the shelter by arranging a follow-up meeting to discuss the challenges and the way forward. The committee should also engage with the Department of Social Development on assistance provided to shelters that are lacking and not uniform. Number 3, the Office of the Premier, along with the Provincial and National Department of Social Development, should, as a matter of urgency, address the plight of 8 undocumented foreign national children that need to be reunited with their parents in Cape Town that are residing at the shelter. And 4, DSD should develop an exit strategy and collaborate with the NYDA to assist women and youth in shelters. For the NYDA of the Northwest Province, the NYDA should work with the Northwest Department of Education to identify teachers competent in sign language to be employed at a school, such as the Northwest Secondary School for the Deaf. 2, it should collaborate with the Northwest Department of Education to explore options of employment of youth via the Presidential Youth Employment Initiative to address the capacity constraints at learners with special educational needs schools. 3, the NYDA should work with the CGE in the province on GBVF programs. 4, it should collaborate with the Northwest Provincial Department of Social Services on an exit strategy for youth leaving shelters when they are 18 years old. To this end, the NYDA should develop a strategy in this regard and submit a proposal to the committee for consideration. And 5, the NYDA should ensure that government departments procure goods and services from NYDA-funded entrepreneurs. To this end, the NYDA should also market products and services of the NYDA-funded entrepreneurs, for example, at the Sonolo Guest House in the Northwest Province. In terms of 4.6, the NYDA, in terms of Gauteng, the NYDA should engage with the landlord to ensure. Yeah, just go up again, Elizabeth, to the NYDA Northwest. We're now by NYDA Kuruleni. 4.6 and 4.5 further up, Nuliswa.
Okay.
Further up. There we go. 1, For the Gauteng province, for NYDA, it should engage the landlord to ensure that the first floor is made accessible to persons with disabilities in wheelchairs. What members would recall is that there were only stairs going up to the first floor. So, and most of the meeting rooms were on the first floor in Kuruleni. The NYDA should utilize members of parliament constituency officers to conduct a training program and engage with youth. In addition, the NYDA should collaborate with university faculties and departments like psychology, occupational therapy, and social work to have students to assist and run training programs. You want to move down, Eliswa, the next page, 47. Under supervision. Such a partnership will be lucrative and provides opportunities. Just wait, top of the page, please, Neliswa.
Sure.
Further up. Just there.
Yeah.
So just to finish off for number 2 on the top of the page, such a partnership will be lucrative as it provides opportunities for students to and coverage and reach more life. 3, it should develop a strategy to improve branding, communication, and marketing. NYDA products and programs in order to attract youth, and it should partner with disabilities with a strategy to market other NYDA products. 4, it should conduct programs in the areas to market the products and services of the agency. 5, it should look at its organizational structure and fill some of the vacancies of the executive positions. And so if you can just put in of by number 5, organizational structure and fill some of the vacancies. The word of is left out. So after the word some to include of. Thank you. Number 4, the NYDA should increase the number of young entrepreneurs receiving grants and also engage with municipalities to employ more young people. The NYDA should improve on its turnaround times to approve and allocate grants to beneficiaries. Number 8, the NYDA should develop a legacy project that would leave a significant impact on the lives of young people in the country. Can we move down, Eliswa, to 9? It should enhance its marketing and communication strategy and consider use of influence to do that on various social media platforms, but also use board members in advertisements to increase visibility. 10, it should focus on young people in sports and the creative arts industry and collaborate with the Department of Arts, Culture and Sport. Can you remove the O, Neliswa, after sport in this regard? So after the word sport, just to remove O. Thank you. Number 11, the NYDA should assist Bongi Hands of Gold Rondi business with mentoring services, specifically around its business plan, marketing, financial management, procuring industrial equipment, and assist the business with building premises in order to conduct the business. The laundry service should be extended to include dry cleaning as part of the medium to long-term business plan. Can we move to 11, please? Thank you. It should ensure that the owner of Bongi Hands of Gold as the mentor accompany her to establish laundromats to learn from best practice. Number 13, the NYDA should reassess its mentorship programs and business skills program to determine its relevance and effectiveness. Can we move down, please, Neliswa? Thank you. For Ikaya Latemba shelter, there were only 2 recommendations. The shelter should prioritize victims from the LGBTQIA+ community on its premises, and management at the shelter should ensure that front of staff is adequately trained and appropriately skilled to receive visitors and victims of GBV. For the meeting with the commissioners of the CGE, firstly, the CGE should table its concerns formally in a report to the committee for consideration, having followed all internal processes. And number 2, the CGE should ensure that the researchers' papers are published and accessible. Can you move to 4.9? For the Temba police station, Temba police management should ensure proper signage at the entrance to the precinct that has allowance services offered to victims of GBV, F and other crimes. Members would recall there was only a printed page with sellotape at the front entrance to the police station. In addition, the station's management should ensure that the precinct cleanliness and hygiene is improved, along with ensuring adequate lighting during load shedding. The Department of Community Safety should train more police officials to deal with GBV issues and ensure that male staff attend. In terms of 3, the committee should write to the Department of Justice and Correctional Services and note with concern the administrative burden for complaints and police officials regarding GBV cases opened at Temba Police Station, but lodged at the Mafeking Court in Northwest instead of a local Johannesburg court in Gauteng province. Number 4, Neliswa. Oh, that was only 3. In terms of the department's recommendations, it should take action on failure of the Chief Director for Program 4 to assist the committee in its request to assist Ms. Bikwa. Number 2, the department should continue to deal with the requests of the committee to assist Ms. Bikwa. 3, the committee noted the challenges faced by the Northwest School for the Deaf in Northwest Province and request the department to assist the school. Members would recall in our Q1 report from last week, there was actually no follow through by the department in this regard. They noted that in their progress report. The department should deal with exit strategy of 18-year-old women leaving shelters and copy the model used in Ikaya Temba shelter to other provinces. 5, the department should also engage the Department of Social Development on exit strategy for women leaving shelters at an age of 18 years. The department next to the word should improve and monitoring and evaluation for program 5 on issues related to this. And then 7, the department should provide the report to the committee on the issue of sanitary dignity program. The department should write a report to the committee on processing of acquiring new office. It should engage with the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure on the issue of new offices for the department. It should write to the Gauteng office to raise concern on the issue of sanitary dignity program and indicate that the committee expects consequence management for persons responsible for not awarding tenders to service providers to distribute pads. Again, members would recall, based on our Q1 report from last week, the department actually didn't provide the committee with any follow-up that report. The department should look at the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure to the Department of Social Development for the purpose of shelters as indicated by the CGE. So the department should also look at shelters for LGBTQIA+. In terms of recommendations for DSD, it should provide a progress report on the implementation of the recommendations made by the CGE as per its state of shelter report. The DSD should develop and implement an exit strategy for women, youth of 18 years leaving shelters. And it should assess their situation of undocumented minors at shelters and youth care centers and intervene accordingly. Next week, the CGE will come and talk to the committee about its Q1 report and some of these matters in relation to shelter. CGE. Thank you, Chairperson members. As I reiterated to Chairperson earlier on, maybe with guidance from Chair and the committee, in terms of the way forward, once we've adopted the report, the adopted report can then be sent to the respective departments and stakeholders listed in the recommendations, and then the committee can request the respective department and stakeholder to provide a progress update and feedback in terms of the recommendation made by the committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kashifa, for that report. Can I get hands from honorable members? This is a report ngoba khona manje members angaboni. Honorable members, angiboni izandla zenu. Honorable Boni.
Thank you, Chairperson. I would like to maybe start by saying I move for the adoption of the reports. It was a very lengthy report. When one went through it, I think that was the longest report, remembering that we stayed till early hours when we were doing that particular oversight. We stayed up until 2 a.m. in the morning. So it's a lot. And I think that we need also to commend the staff of and the team that went with us in assisting and compiling this report. I think they've captured it in detail in all activities that we engaged in during our visit in both provinces, Northwest and Gauteng. I think, Chair, I heard you mentioning that you did receive the report, a document from the school in Northwest, the school for the
Not
deaf.
from the school, from the department. Remember, there were many things that they were supposed to do, the Department of Education and the school itself. So it's yeah.
Okay, so for now, maybe one speaks from a point of not knowing exactly what is detailed in the report up until we get it. But there were concerns that we raised, and my in terms of my reading the report was to check the progress in terms of the things that we identified. So we hope, one will hope that they are contained in that report, because they needed sign language teachers, and the issue of the children not having supervision, or a parent, what is this, a matron, or what, nursing, a parent who will be looking after them at the school. I think it was a risky challenge that they were facing. So because the age of those children in that school, they will really need supervision. So I think maybe when we get the report, we will see what is in it. But if those things are not dealt with or reported or contained in the report, we can still ask for follow-up information in terms of what is it that the school have done in making sure that those issues of concern that we have raised on that particular day are dealt with or given attention. With regard to the commission, CGE visits to their offices to Northwest, and including in the meeting in Johannesburg when we met with the commissioners at night. I think from the meetings that we have had with them, there were some issues that we have managed to deal with, and we raised the issues with them, and they tried to give some responses to the issues. I think so far with them, we are at the point where we can maybe give them a break, because we're also working on the issue of the filling of vacancies and see what will happen after the vacancies have been filled. On the youth development, Chair, I remember in our last meeting, we visited them during the oversight, and we had meetings with them after, where they came to our portfolio committee sitting. One would like to know, because in that follow-up meeting, portfolio committee meeting, when they were present, there were areas that we highlighted to them that needs attention, particularly on the issue of the young lady in Johannesburg, who was doing a laundry service. There were things that we tasked them to attend to in terms of the monitoring and support for the young lady, including the young man who was dealing with still a space to work, because he had no shelter, secure space to do his work. So I think those are the follow-ups that we'll need to have from this NYDA in terms of what is it that has been done, because they have given money for the young people to develop themselves, so they can't be left just wondering what, and without follow-up or follow-through in terms of assisting them and making sure that their businesses become a great success. So I think those are the follow-ups from my side, Chair, that I think we'll need still to get from the NYDA in terms of what has been done. With the other issues in terms of the police station, I think I agree with the recommendations that have been highlighted in the report from our side, Chairperson. So I would love to move for the adoption of the report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Boni. Honorable Masondo.
Thank you, Chairperson. I second the report with the deliberations.
Thank you very much, honorable members. I think what we need to do is to write a letter to Zain. Zain is one official from Gauteng, from the Premier's office, I think, if I'm not mistaken, to thank him for assisting that a woman from Katlehong, Tokosa, to get that customized wheelchair. And then regarding the follow-ups on the things that we said they must do, I think our staff members should go through the outstanding things that we said they must do and follow up with the department and give us the feedback. All the places where we went, where we recommended things to be done, our staff should send letters to them and check on the developments regarding that and come back and give us a report. And maybe also try and summarize other things that they've submitted, Kashifa, Christel, and Tasnim, so that we can and check how best can you deal with those reports, but also check with the Human Rights Commission on what are the developments so far regarding the oversight that we did with them. Okay, thank you very much. The report has been adopted. I see Honorable Masigo is in now. Can we get the next report?
Thank you, Chair. Is the report to the Eastern Cape. Can you give me a minute? I will flight it.
You know, I've been seeing, I think last week, if I'm not mistaken, I've seen something on the news where they were complaining about families not receiving a detailed report regarding what killed the 21 young people in that Enyobeni tavern. I'm not sure how to deal with it for now, but I think there's something is not right regarding that Enyobeni tragedy. So I haven't applied my mind on what exactly is happening there, but I think honorable members, we need to look at it and not leave those families being frustrated like that. But I think what we have agreed is about this. We said we are going to invite them, the different departments in the Eastern Cape, to come and account on this matter, on this particular matter. So Nelly, we are awaiting the date on when are we going to call them. The Portfolio Committee on Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities having undertaken an oversight visit to Eastern Cape Province from 3 to 6 July 2022, reports as follows. Introduction and we jump it. A background is that an oversight visit to the families of 21 teenagers who died on the 26th of June 2022 in a tavern in East London, Eastern Cape. Given the number of youth that have been affected by the tragedy, the committee deemed it important that the National Youth Development Agency accompanies members on the visit, as youth is a key aspect of the committee's oversight mandate. To this end, the committee engaged with the families of the 21 young people who died in the tavern in East London. You need to correct this. East London in Eastern Cape province. Moreover, the committee also has to engage is engaged I think Lafana, it must be corrected. The committee also engaged with the MEC for transport and safety and liaising. The justice, crime prevention, and security, you must remove the two. The committee also engaged with the MEC for transport and safety liaising, the justice, crime prevention and security cluster, and the Eastern Cape Liquor Board. The committee also attended the mass funeral on Wednesday, 6 July 2022, on the 21st of the 21 children, 21 teenagers who died. Here we are missing councillors. We also met with the councillors, so the councillors must be included. You need to correct the things that I just mentioned. The committee attended the mass funeral on Wednesday, the 6th July 2022. Just remove that also. The committee attended the mass funeral on Wednesday, 6th July, the 6th July 2022 of the 21 teenagers who died. Yeah, so you need to correct those things as I'm reading. Objectives. The overall aim of the oversight visit was to meet with the families of the bereaved teenagers, to engage with key stakeholders related to the tragic incident. These stakeholders would include South African Police Services, the Eastern Cape Liquor Board, and the National Youth Development Agency. Here, you are short of the municipality. The municipality must also be included, because the municipality also is also involved in terms of their bylaws. The specific objectives for the respective meetings have been outlined below. We had a meeting with SAPS. We had a meeting with SAPS to engage with station commander and designated police officer for liquor regarding the Enyobeni Tavern tragedy, to gain insight into process of liquor license for liquor outlets and in specific the Enyobeni Tavern, to establish what mechanisms are in place to deal with complaints by the public about taverns and or shebeens. We had a meeting with the Eastern Cape Liquor Board to engage with them and understand its processes for issuing and rescinding liquor licenses, to establish how and why Enyobeni Tavern received its liquor license and why it was subsequently revoked, to determine what programs the board has in place to focus on youth, alcohol abuse, and prevention of underage drinking. And then the last one was to attend the mass service and represent Parliament to the funeral, yeah. To attend the mass service and represent Parliament of the Republic of South Africa. I'm not sure here, whether it's for the committee to attend the mass funeral of the deceased. I'm sure we need to change this one because for me, it doesn't make sense. So I think we need to change this one. Lentosi Palela. Delegation. Yes, the delegation that attended table is read.
I was not there, Chair.
Oh, by the way. Okay.
Yes, Chair.
Okay. Okay. Okay, summary of proceedings of engagements with the families of the bereft. This is the summary that of engagement with the families where we had a meeting at the hall. We visited to Enyobeni Tavern, East London. We had engagements with the Justice, Crime, Prevention and Security Cluster. The MEC also introduced the heads of departments who were part of that meeting. And furthermore, the MEC provided an update on the province's response to the tragedy and assistance provided to the bereaved families. We take it that all the things that the MEC presented in terms of the developments, table is read. Yeah, engagements with the Justice, Crime, engagements with the Justice, Crime, Prevention and Security cluster is this one. Those are the departments that were present, all those stakeholders. And then a table is read. Engagement with the Justice, Crime, Prevention and Security cluster. Table is read. Presentation by the Eastern Cape Liquor Board. The CEO made a presentation on license application process regarding Enyobeni Tavern, on and off trading conditions, applications of Section 55 notice, liquor bylaw by the municipality, a number of licenses in Buffalo City Metropolitan Municipality. We take it as table as read. the presentation that was made by the CEO. Anyone can access the report. The Department of Social Development, HOD was there and he made a presentation. Department of Basic Education was there and they made a presentation. Department of Transport, all these, we take it table as read. And then let's go straight to our observations.
Can I go through them, Chair?
Yo, Maninganga. I table as read. Just go to number 7. Go to number 7. Having engaged with the families of the bereaved, the MEC for Transport Safety, Liaising, Prevention and Security, the committee made the following recommendations. The committee will write to the Premier and the MEC for COFTA to raise concerns experienced regarding the conduct of behavior of the Deputy Mayor and the councillors during the meeting with families of the deceased. I'm not sure if you have written that letter. The committee will hold a joint meeting with the Portfolio Committee on Trade and Industry, still outstanding. The Eastern Cape government should support the initiative by the Department of Social Development, the Provincial Department of Social Development and Basic Education to respond in writing to the committee to the questions, comments that were not responded to. You need to remind them. The committee will send written questions to the departments and stakeholders, especially to the department dealing with youth issues. I'm sure we have done that. Engagements with the justice and crimes. MEC should assist the families who will bury their children outside Buffalo City municipalities. Eastern Cape Liquor Board should develop a monitoring tool to assess the reliability and effectiveness of the community consultation undertaken in the liquor application process. They should implement stringent processes to ensure adequate community consultation take place during the liquor application process. Taken during the application process. They should submit inspections report conducted for Enyobeni Tavern to the committee. I'm not sure if you have already sent them a letter to request for that, a report. They should also send forward the amended Eastern Cape Liquor Act to assist the committee to engage with the Department of Trade and Industry and Competition. Should review its process for approving licenses to taverns. And then lastly, the Department of Social Development should provide psychosocial support to the families of the deceased and all youths affected by the Enyobeni tragedy. So the outstanding issues which we have recommended, honorable members, our staff should be the ones who write letters to all these departments and stakeholders that we met with, so that we can check and evaluate our what we have recommended in the meeting is taken serious and is implemented. So when you are writing reports to them, letters to invite them to that meeting. You need to write all these things that are outstanding that we said they must do, so that we can be able to call them into a fiscal meeting in Cape Town. That date should be soon, honorable members. Our staff need to look at our program so that we can know when and how can we fit them in. Can I get a mover for the adoption of this report with the amendments?
Chair, Honorable Phiri, I move for the adoption with the amendment as you have stated. Thanks.
Thank you, Honorable Phiri. Let me get a second now. Fikile Masiko. Honorable Masiko.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I second the mover for the adoption of the report.
Thank you very much. The report has been adopted with the amendments and the corrections that we've made, and with the recommendations that we have made now on what is it that needs to be done by our staff members, so that when they come, they know exactly what is the expectation by the committee. Let's move to the next report.
Chair, we have adopted all the reports. It's 3 sets of minutes. Minutes of the 23rd of August, minutes of 24th August, and the 30th. Chair, I will share the minutes of the 23rd August. Just give me a minute.
Which report?
We have finalized all the reports, Chair. It's the minutes now.
Let's get to the minutes.
Thank you, Chair. These are the minutes of the 23rd of August, Chair.
Okay, can we, the minutes of the 24th August, can we get honorable members who were present in that meeting? Page 1.
It's 23rd August, Chair.
I mean, I'm 24.
No, it's 23rd. It's 23rd, 24th, and the 30th, Chair. I've shared the minutes of the 23rd.
Let's get a mover for the adoption of these minutes.
Yes, Honorable Masondo, Chairperson, I move with the adoption of the minutes of the 23rd of August 2022 to be the true reflection what transpired in the meeting.
Honorable Mpiti.
Hi, Chair. I would like to second the minutes of the 23rd of August 2022. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. The minutes of the 23rd August 2022 have been duly adopted. Let's move to the next set of minutes, the 24th.
I will share them. I will share them now, Chair.
But you didn't send me the ones of the 30th.
I did share. I'll send you now.
the minutes of the 24th of August, we're dealing with the shortlisting process on for the filling of vacancies in the Commission for Gender Equality. And this is what we have done that day. And here's the list of people that we have shortlisted. And can I get a mover for the adoption of the minutes? Masiko?
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. I move for the adoption of the minutes of the meeting of Wednesday, the 24th of August, 2022.
Thank you very much, Honorable Masiko. Honorable Ngobo?
Thank you, Chairperson. I second the move for the adoption of the minutes of the 24th of August.
Thank you very much, honorable members. I think what needs to be corrected here, and I've been saying this several times, and I've been saying Sipanya Mokhale is an advocate. So when you write minutes, you need to be consistent. Write people according to who they are. Don't be selective. If you are writing about a doctor, write doctor. A professor, write professor. Advocate is advocate. So you must correct it. I've said that several times, Nellis. So this must be corrected. I don't know who else is an advocate here, but or whether is a doctor. Even in terms of saying Moliko is doctor. In terms of saying Moliko. So you need to write people accordingly. This must be corrected. I don't know what to show.
I'll correct and check. Yes.
I don't have minutes of the 30th. Wasn't this separate?
Yeah, and with members also. I'll send them to you now.
Where are those minutes? Do you have those minutes, honorable members?
Chair,
Hello?
Honorable Masleng on the side, I do have this minutes.
Oh, ngiyabonga ma.
Yes.
Namanye ama-member anawo lama minutes, mina nginawo lama minutes.
Okay.
Yes, Honorable Chair, we received them.
Mina ngiyabheka nako la, angiboni.
Oh, yeah, I did get it.
On Friday, Honorable Chairperson.
Eh?
They were sent on Friday last week.
Mhlawumbe ukhohle ungisendele. Okay, let's go through these minutes. These minutes were about the meeting which we held with National Treasury, Public Works, and Public Works and the Department of Women. So go down. can we get a mover for the adoption of these minutes? Honorable Masigo.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. I move for the adoption of the meeting of the 30th of August 2022.
Thank you very much, Honorable Masigo. Ma'am Hlengwa.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I second the move of this adoption of this minutes is a true reflection.
Thank you very much, Honorable Hlengwa. What is outstanding now is the feedback from the Department of Public Works. We have given them the ultimatum that by the end of September, on the 1st of October, the department should move to the new offices as per what they have committed yesterday and last week. And if there's a delay of department not relocating to the new building, then the Department of Public Works should incur the cost for a rental, because it's their problem. It's no longer the problem of the Department of Women now. So I'm sure what we are going to do, our staff will then make follow-ups after a second week. After next week, our staff should check with the Department Public Works and the Department of Women on, because we said we recommended that Department of Women should deploy a senior official to work with those officials that said Department of Public Works to fast track the process of finalizing the smaller things that were left, that they were supposed to have concluded by last week. And then the sitter that is supposed to be assisting them in terms of the IT things, Nayo, we have given them 2 weeks, that after that 2 weeks, Department of Public Works, then Bona, they must come. We don't need any stories. They must come and install whatever cables that they need to install so that the department can move forward and move away from that expensive building where they are now. So we represented you, honorable members, because some of you were sick, and but honorable members who were part of the meeting, they worked very hard that day, because when numbers are less, it means honorable members should work harder so that we achieve our goal, and we ensure that we have done our oversight thoroughly. Even with the Department of National Treasury, we have done our level best in terms of representing the issues that we wanted to raise with the National Treasury, and we were responded to. Things that are left, our staff members will do the same in making follow-ups with the department. But thank you very much for the work that was done by honorable members last week. And we're thankful, we're grateful also that you are back, honorable members. You are on your feet, because I saw you that the previous day you were sick, and then the next day you were debating. I was watching that debate until the end. In fact, I was in the house until the end because I was on visual. So I saw all of you when you were debating the Honorable MP. But thank you very much, honorable members. Any other item that is outstanding, Nelly?
No, Chair. We have
I think,
adopted all minutes.
now we're done with all our reports.
Yes, Chair.
Yeah, we're done with all our reports, honorable members. We can now submit our reports to the House. Yeah. Thank you very much. What is outstanding, Ned? Is yourself and Dr. Tembe to assist us, Kashifa, in responding to the letter that I read for you today. But any other matter that is outstanding regarding which we need to respond to, I think we have done justice. The meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair.
Long live Chair.
Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you, Masiko, for coming, for flying safe. See you in the House at 2. The meeting is adjourned.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Chair. Bye.
Bye, Bonnie.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Chair. Thank you.
Bye, 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 sis. And Peter, I'm jello go pick a
Umile, Chair.
Record.